Hello, I hope you guys are ready for some intro music because I am pulling it up and I'm going to click the right button. There it is. Hey, we are two guys. This is one podcast, and we are here to talk some fantasy football. We are going on our DFS gambling show as normal, but we're also going to be taking start sits today from any of the audience, and we'll be going into some key lineup decisions because it is your semifinal week, and we are here to help. And Scott is gone; he is totally gone. So let's see where I'm taking the show. As you know, I'm Addi, the Duck League champ. You can find me on the Twitter, the X, the Instagram at Duck League champ, and the TikTok at league.champ. And check out our app on the app and Google Play Store. We are running contests all through the playoffs, so there is still plenty of time to get a free jersey. But I hope you missed us. Evidently, you only missed Scott for a moment because he is gone, but he will be back, I think. I would hope so. We're going to be hitting start sits and some decisions that are stressing us out this week, but let's break into last week's decisions. And again, hoping that I have Scott back here in a moment. But we're going to be quick on this one. We had a couple bad calls. Cincinnati money line did not pay off back in week 14. Chase Brown over also didn't pay off. Indy got smacked by Jacksonville. And Philadelphia, we had them at -2, and Jalen Hurts put up a stinker. But we got a start sit question in the chat already. So we have a Caleb Williams or Jordan Love question breaking down here. I have to assume that is Caleb. I'm leaning Caleb Williams in this one, but I think that Jordan Love has a solid matchup with Bears defense. I look forward to Scott's opinion if he is here. Scott, you hear me? That's great. Okay, well, we are going to break into some of our other calls. I will get Scott's opinion on this real soon. Seems he's having some technical difficulties in this one. We also had some good ones. JJM, we predicted that big breakout game. Brian Thomas Jr. over hit. And we are going to go, and we went Houston again with the Chiefs, and they managed to pull that one out. Nico Collins also pulled off the touchdown. Marion Hampton got a touchdown game. LB3 started that breakout. Colston Loveland hit the over, and we were on point with Jordan Love over 2 TDs. Scott, we had a start sit question in the chat. We had Caleb Williams or Jordan Love. Who are you taking this week?
Let's go with Caleb Williams. I made the mistake of going away from him last week. I played Mariota over him in what I thought was a better matchup, but Caleb continues to get it done with his legs. He is going to be without a couple of his top receivers this week, but I still think the Bears can get it done through the air. Green Bay has been particularly poor against the pass, especially on the road, and we know that their pass rush took a big step back this week with Micah Parsons going down with that knee injury. Bo Nix, who we were calling pretty inconsistent just a few weeks ago, absolutely torched them last week. And Caleb Williams has been the QB6, I believe, in fantasy on the year, depending on your format. So time to roll him out one more time, I think. Played Caleb confidently, especially that rushing floor.
Totally agree there. We got a defense question, too, Bills or Ravens. In this one, I think you have to go Bills. I'm not taking the Ravens defense against the Pats. But if you're looking for more defense and injury news, check out Chev's show. He does a defense and kicking streaming show every single week for the FFD with Coach Ratcliffe. So definitely check them out there. I broke down our week 14. We're already done with that. We're 5 minutes in. We're way ahead of schedule, so we can break it straight into the news. And Scott's here. So that's a win. Scott, you want to tell him how you've been doing?
Oh man, I'm back. Some weeks are good for learning and growing, and that's what this past week has been. And I'm excited to be talking football as Christmas break is about to start up. I feel a lot of people at work are starting to pack up, and with Christmas Eve next Thursday, I mean, who's working next week? Not next Wednesday. So who's working?
I sure hope not me. But let's break it into the news. Someone who has been working is Jacoby Myers for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He just got hooked up with big new contract. If my work's hearing me, I would love one of those too. So how are we feeling about Jacoby Myers getting 3 years there from Jacksonville?
Yeah, this was pretty quick. Good to see a trade that ended up being beneficial for the receiving team for a contract year player. Jacoby has been excellent in his starts playing for these last few weeks with and without BTJ. They seem to occupy different roles, and it actually, I think, has allowed BTJ to play better as well. He seems to have regained confidence, and he's catching more balls in that downfield space that he likes to be. He wasn't very comfortable across the middle. We saw a lot of that with those alligator arms, and it seems to be a better fit for Jacoby Myers. Still think highly of BTJ next year. I'd assume he's going somewhere in the third round, 2-3 turn, third round. So I'm not going to hesitate away. He's got ceiling. Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah. DJ Moore was going in the fourth this year, right? Like, if you can have somebody on your team who can put up 20, 30-point game, 2 touchdowns, couple deep ones, like BTJ can still do that. The question is Hunter, right? He was going in the 50s. We saw a little bit of sparkle right before he got hurt, and then he was lost for the season. All right, you figure he's going to come back, be the wide receiver too, and start taking over, but now he's still going to be part of a 3-man crew no matter what. They have Brenton Strange, who's averaging 20-plus target share percentage. There's a lot of mouths to feed there in Jacksonville next year.
There is. I hate there's too many mouths to feed conundrum, because we've seen so many passing teams really put it together. But the Liam Cohen offense is centered around Travis Etienne, and we've seen enough from Tootin to really feel like that team has their identity established in some regards. So I'm kind of on the same page as you, where this, I think, craters the value of a lot of the Jacksonville pass catchers, because Jacoby Myers isn't going before the 8th or 9th round next year. But
same spot.
He very well could lead them in target share. Wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, all of them potentially better than best ball kind of options, because it might be hard to project them on a week-to-week basis, but they all are going to have ceiling independently. I mean, Myers will have the lowest ceiling, and Strange will remain a mid-tier tight end, but BTJ and Hunter will have weekly ceilings that are going to be hard to match in the range of guys they're going around.
Yeah, I totally agree. And let's break it straight into the news here. We have about 700 players that have been rolled out for this week. Let's start out with the Thursday night game here. If anybody is watching this one, thinking about starting Devontae Adams, don't, because he's not playing tonight. The Rams are without their best goal line option, and the Seattle Seahawks are actually without their starting left tackle. I could see this one being a bit of a slog of a game. How are you feeling about tonight?
That's how I've definitely been feeling. This weather forecast has really gotten other people feeling that this game was going to be a slog. Even though the weather is shaping up to be better than expected, this total's come all the way down to 42, and I thought it belonged lower to start. We've seen a divisional game in this division earlier in the year when the Rams played the Niners on that Thursday night game, when the Niners were playing man down. And we saw a slog late last year. We saw Rams-Niners slog. I mean, this division tends to roll these out late in the year, especially on these short weeks. And I think both defenses are good enough to keep this one low scoring. I mean, we didn't see much from Seattle last week. The running backs, despite that being what they're going to lean on this year, are really struggling. Both of them, I think Walker averaging under 2 yards per carry in his last game. I mean, it's not good out there for a team that fully identifies with being a running team. But interested to see, I guess we'll talk more about that game. So let me not give away my secrets yet.
Yeah. Keep the audience in suspense here. Yeah, we need to keep our single live viewer happy.
All right.
But Let's move it into some of the other out players. Alvin Kamara hasn't practiced yet. Devin Neal is out for this game.
He's on
We
IR
are
now,
seeing,
actually, so he'll be
yeah,
done
he
for the
is.
season.
Yep, and it means that it is Audric Estime that is the starting running back for the New Orleans Saints. When Rocco told me I need to keep an eye out for Audric Estime, I told him that's insane, and I have once again been proven wrong on that regard, but I'm not starting him this week.
I have 10 remaining best ball teams, and he happens to be on 2 of them. So
no
there
kidding.
you go.
Audric
There
Estime
you
is on
go.
some of your best ball rosters.
One was in a preseason best ball. Maybe both of them were in preseason when you had 20 rounds, and I was still thinking that he had a shot. As this was before Harvey was on Denver. So, or maybe one team he was paired up with Knicks, I believe, is one reason he was on there. So it's funny to see. Could be what you need, though.
It definitely could. Cat on cams here. Love to see the little guy. Hey, what a cutie. So let's move it into the Chicago Bears. Rome Odunze is out again this week. Luther Burden is likely to be out as well.
He's out too. Ruled out today as well.
That is so unfortunate to hear. We've been seeing a great breakout from him. I guess it's a DJ Moore game, and I'm excited to see it.
Do you have Luther Burden in Dynasty?
I don't have Luther Burden in our Dynasty League. I don't have him in enough of mine because he was going way too high, and then he was going right in a range where I liked a couple other players a bit more, but I still have Colston Loveland. That's the most important thing.
Man, I would love him this week on my Dynasty squad. Wish we could have made something happen.
We should have.
So are you putting your chips on the table? Yeah. You wanted quite the fortune. Are you going to push for Burden ownership this offseason?
Oh, without a doubt. I think we've seen enough from LB3 that he has really established himself as a consistent downfield option. He's great at after the catch. I think there's really a lot of opportunity for him to take over that DJ Moore role because I could see the Bears moving from DJ Moore this offseason. I wouldn't be shocked. His contract's kind of massive, and Rome Odunze showed enough in the early season that if I'm the Bears GM, like Ryan Poles is, he's pretty open to making the trade. But let's move it on to the next one here. We got Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, wow, I almost had it. Tua Tagovailoa is out for this one, and he is out because Mike McDaniel has given up on him. So he is no longer going to be the starting quarterback. Quinn Ewers is starting up there, not Zach Wilson. So we'll get to see the subpar play that we've seen from Ewers in college in an NFL jersey.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the pieces in that game later because looking for a desperate Waddle pivot this week, and I still haven't been able to find one, but nothing like a 7th round rookie starting. At least they get a very good matchup.
Yeah. Next up, we got T. He may not be out. He was limited again today, but keep an
seems
eye
like
on
he's
that
trending
one.
towards out, though. Haven't really seen any progress yet. No full participations.
Also, if I'm the Bengals, I don't want to rush that guy back. He's actually been getting banged up this year. Next up, we got Anthony Richardson is out, but his practice window was open. So we could see some A-Rich at the end of this season. A-Rich, the fantasy quarterback you need in week 17?
It all depends on how they do this week. If they can compete with the Niners, I think they're going to leave Phillip Rivers with a job. But if they continue this slide, I mean, as soon as they're eliminated, he'll get the start. But I don't think he will start until they're officially eliminated. They don't trust him. And it doesn't seem like they're all that eager to figure out what he's got. So they're still trying to make the playoffs here. I still find them slipping backwards. I have confidence in the Niners taking care of business on Monday night. But we saw a pretty good showing from Indy this last week. No reason they can't do it to a worse Niners team on Monday night.
Yeah, I would agree there. Then we move it into the Chiefs. We have Rashee Rice, who is likely missing this week with a concussion suffered in practice, and Pat Mahomes is on IR. So it's going to be tough sledding to be the Chiefs for the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's over for them. And now you have Minshew. And I guess one of my questions for later was, is Hollywood Brown an option this week against Tennessee Titans pass funnel?
I think I'd go Worthy personally. Like I still have that sliver of hope that Worthy can turn into a tier 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and I'm not like convinced that Hollywood Brown has shown enough this year to really be a trustworthy option. Like the second that Rashee Rice came back, Hollywood Brown was essentially relegated to the shadow realm. Like we haven't seen him play.
Yeah, I mean, this game has an over-under of 37.5, so we're not expecting a ton of points, but the ball's got to go somewhere, and Tennessee has been absolutely terrible against the pass. It actually looks like Minshew is heavily favored to outpass Cam Ward this week, but I'm not seeing a lot of props up yet as they wait to get the final Rice news.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine there will be a lot of props available for that game until real close to the starting point. But another one that we will likely not be able to gamble on early is Woody Marks, who is likely to miss this week. But we have Nick Chubb likely returning from injury this week. Chubb give you a Chubb?
Oh, man. Well, I was going to say for our Great Dane team, but seems that's the end of that road. No Chubb from me. We saw how inconsistent he was. He might get all the volume. I mean, they take on the Raiders. They're 2-point touchdown. They're 2 touchdown favorites at home. I was really hoping Chubb wasn't going to play so we can get a run at Johnson this weekend if we didn't have Marks. I don't know. If you have Chubb, you almost got to play him in your flex in the 2 touchdown favorite against Vegas.
Yeah, I love that Chubb and Johnson got to be in the same sentence there. There's got to be a joke there somewhere. When you got a Chubb, you just got to squeeze that joke in. Okay, I will stop on that. Next up, we have Marvin Harrison likely to come back this week. He's practicing. I said he was suffering from a serious case of hating your fantasy team, and I would say he's suffering from that same case. He hates all the Michael Wilson teams that made it to the playoffs and all those Marv teams that are sitting on the consolation round, throwing them in their lineup. But we have a start sit question, so we're going to throw that on the screen.
All right.
We got Jordan Love here. Be sure to like and subscribe. First time seeing Jordan Love in here. PPR tight end, flex with Fannin, Bowers, and Parkinson. So I'm guessing he's going 2 on here. Who are you going, Scott?
In PPR, I think right now you got to go with Fannin. He had 14 targets last week, 11 the week before. He's Shadur's one and only option. That pass volume was very concentrated to him. I haven't seen much on Samson's health this week. I don't think he's practicing yet either.
Unlikely to come back.
Yeah. So, and we know that Judkins is not taking over that receiving back role. I think he had 3, maybe 4 targets last week, despite taking over the entire running back share. So love Fannin, and I think it's hard to bench Bowers. Gino's coming back this week. We know how poor he's played this year, but it's going to be better than we saw from Kenny Pickett last week. And Bowers can be a tight end 1 at any time. I think it's just hard to bench him. You got to stick with players like that, similar to how you're playing Justin Jefferson this week, no matter how gruesome things look. It's also the week to win all of our money back on Justin Jefferson. I can feel it.
Exactly. Totally agree. Jefferson's going to come back big this week. But I'm on the same boat. Like Parkinson has been hot lately, but we have seen a lot more Terrence Ferguson in recent games, and especially without Devontae Adams in there. They're going to be running 3 tight end personnel very frequently. They already run at one of the highest rates in the NFL. So although I know that Parkinson's going to be on the field, I do think that this is going to be a game where Bowers and Fannin are just notably the safer plays. And we got another question here. You think this is the actual Jordan Love, or do you think that that's just like his YouTube name?
I think it's definitely Jordan. It's Thursday, so he's got to lock his lineup in before his weekend games, and he doesn't have time.
All right. Well, we got one more here. So, and then another league, he's looking for wide receiver 2 in a flex. DK, Michael Wilson, Watson, Sutton, Pittman, and Evans. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of wide receiver options that are all in the same tier for me. Who are you?
We have to play
Scott?
Jerry Rice. I mean, right now I think you have to stay in the fire with Jerry Rice, Mr. Michael Wilson. He's just been targeted way too many times to go away from. And doesn't Evans have a pretty good matchup this week? I mean, he was excellent in his first game back. He only needs to average, I believe, 243 yards a game over the next 3 games to hit 1,000 yards this year. So they're going to pump that ball into him and try and get him those yards to get that milestone. But no, after last week, I mean, I think it's hard to not play Mike Evans.
I'm in the exact same boat. The only thing I'd say is that with Marv coming back, I'm inclined to go DK over Michael Wilson, but pick your poison there. DK's in a low volume offense.
I like him unwilling to give up on or to give in to DK, but he just keeps getting it done on that low volume, and he has an incredible matchup this week against Detroit, who plays very heavy man, which is like what DK likes to beat. So I don't know, though. Mike Evans in his first game back had 12 targets last week. It was a much different defense he was playing against, playing the Falcons on Thursday night versus Carolina this week. I don't know. It's hard to convince me on DK, but I've been there all year, and he's like the wide receiver 14 or 12 on the year.
He is. He's just a bit behind JMO, which is crazy. Well, Jordan Love here is a Bears fan too. Bears fans in the house. This is a Bears-friendly podcast. Very sorry for your birth name there. That's got to be rough. I'm totally with you. I can't imagine how that's impacting you. But I'm glad you stuck with it, because I definitely would have struggled with that myself. But let's move it on to the next one here. We are going into the players that are in. Drake London is looking like he's coming back. And we also have Justin Fields likely to come back from injury this week. Will that matter? Will they play him? Who's to say?
I think he was announced as not being the starter this week. We're going to see another week of Cook.
Yeah, I know.
And he was fine. He got that drive done early last week until the team fell apart and got blown out. But they continue to move the ball up and down the field more than I was expecting against a decent Jacksonville defense. I expect the Jets in a much more even matchup this week against the Saints to be more competitive and maybe give hope to some of these options. I think we discussed Breece Hall a little bit pre-show, and it's ugly. It truly doesn't feel good. Last week, only playing 56% of the snaps, but last week was a complete blowout. He didn't even come back in for a series after the blowout had started, the drive after Isaiah Davis scored his touchdown. Breece Hall returned, but he was in there really for pass blocking purposes and almost to kind of be that veteran presence for the QB out there. I mean, you really saw him picking him up, and I was watching Breece Hall with full intent last week. So I was on to every emotion. But yeah, I think you got to go back to him in the playoffs this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. We talked about Breece a little bit before the show started, and just so you know, if you are watching the stream, feel free to throw your start sits in there. We are taking it easy on the gambling content this week just to make sure that we are here to help you with those start sit decisions. But we have some bets we're going to go over here, and Thursday Night Football is only a short 45 minutes away, so let's break it into there. We have the Los Angeles Rams playing the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are -1.5, over under of 42. And how are you feeling about this game, Scott?
Yeah, so we talked about it before. I thought this was going to be a slog at first, a little bit of a back and forth. I have a nice 8-1 Seattle ticket to win the division, so I'm thinking about how I can hedge this maybe mid-game if Seattle takes a lead. But who I like in this game, kind of like in Terrence Ferguson, who was on the field for his most snaps last week at 78%. This was after 64 the week before, which were both significantly higher than previous. He only had 2 targets and 1 reception for 6 yards, but he had a considerable number of air yards, and he almost had a TD in his hands. So I tapped on him for a first TD tonight at 28-1. I don't do those very often, but I felt like, hey, who doesn't want to start off the night with a $100 bill in their pocket? Then followed that up with just an anytime TD for plus 490 or something like that for half unit. So maybe we'll keep things rolling. And then to end the night, a second TD for Terrence Ferguson. I believe it was up at 100 to 1 somewhere, but I was able to get it 55 to 1 for a couple of quarters. Just something crazy to root for tonight. Thursday night has not been a good night for me. So just looking for something easy, random to happen. And if not, whatever, we'll kick it to the weekend after some more silly Thursday night bets.
Hey, always here for Terrence Ferguson's breakout. And I think there are a couple other areas to attack in this one. I see you have on the show sheet this Blake Corum plus 270 touchdown. Don't hate that. I like the rushing yards for Kyron Williams. He's been coming in under 60. I think the Rams are going to lean on their rushing attack in this game. So I think that you can probably get away with Corum or Kyron Williams in a pick 'em. I think that's probably a safe bet. I also love Kendub, but the only problem here is Kenneth Walker is still coming in at like 60 rushing yards. Like, how are we not getting a discount on that?
That's crazy. That's crazy because he can do it at any time, but he hasn't been doing it. I just cannot. I cannot follow him tonight. I've let that ship sail for the year. But I do like your Kyron Williams call. Another line I really liked was Stafford under 33.5 passing attempts. I don't think that this game is going to be particularly high paced. I mean, it could, of course, elevate early, but if it doesn't, I think both teams are going to be content to run the ball, and this clock could move relatively quick. The reason I put the Corum TD plus 270, that just seems too high. The fact that he's been getting a crack at the end zone, game script regardless these last couple of weeks. Without Devontae Adams, there's going to be more rushing TD chances that he's been stealing inside the 10-yard line. I can't guarantee that plus 270 is going to hit, but at these odds, it seemed like a good bet for tonight.
Yeah, I like that one too. I think in general that when you're looking at these Thursday night games, the running game tends to be a safe option. I want to run some analytics on that after the year, but let's move it into the next one here. It's a Bears podcast. We're going to talk Green Bay and at Chicago. And Green Bay has the odds in this one, Green Bay has the odds in this one at -1.5, 46.5 over under. I really love the Chicago money line in this. Like, we saw at the end of that Bears game, Cole Kmet was open on his route early. Crazy play by Keshawn Nixon to actually take that one away a couple of weeks back. I know the Bears are a little short-handed, but to be perfectly honest, the Bears offense has fully run through one or two receivers, a lot of tight end play, and the running backs. I think that Green Bay is susceptible, and this could be a breakout DJ Moore performance, even more than we saw last week.
Yeah, I still don't know how to feel about Moore just because he's been so inconsistent throughout this year, but he's been very happy to be in the background just doing his thing. We don't know about DeAndre Swift's health. He popped up with a groin injury this week, which I didn't love to see. I mean, you definitely got to fire up a young guy if he's playing by himself. I do like the Bears. It does look like the line is flipped to Chicago -1 now, but Green Bay banged up on the road. They lost last week? No, they beat Detroit.
Yeah.
Where am I at?
Did they beat Detroit?
What happened?
They lost.
They played Detroit before that.
They
lost last week. Okay, yeah, they lost to Denver. So I don't love that in the sense that I don't feel like Green Bay is a team that's going to lose 2 in a row a lot, but we saw them go on a little slide earlier in the year. But the Bears have been the better team, and we've been, well, not you, but the general public has been thinking, the Bears are fraudulent. We've seen that in a ton of these lines, right? They've been underdogs to Philly and these games that then they've been crushing in. So this will be a week where a bunch of people jump on the bandwagon and it'll flip to the other side, or people are going to stay on that Green Bay side one more week. And this line would say that people think Green Bay are still better despite their current injury situation. So I like the Bears this week as well.
Yeah, I'm with you here. And I saw you put the Loveland line on there. I absolutely love anything under 50 yards for Loveland. I think he can hit that over. We've been seeing that breakout happen slowly, but really he has shown that he is a fully capable tight end that should be playing on 80 to 90% of snaps. So I love getting him in my lineups. And any of the Green Bay receivers, like spark your interest here? Because I know Christian Watson's a little banged up. I don't know if he's playing for sure, but they've fully gone back to receiver by rotation.
Yes, but before we move on for Loveland, before the show, I said there's one player this week who's going to break fantasy football, and I actually think that is going to be Colson Loveland. Without Luther Burden, without Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet banged up in a game that should have a decent amount of offense in it, and we expect the Bears to win this one. What if Loveland comes away with 2 touchdowns, 80 yards, and 6-7 catches? I think that you should fire up Loveland in all scenarios this week. I have been, if he's out there, I've been picking him up. I've been stashing him on a bunch of benches all season. This is Loveland's week. This is the one.
I'm there.
We saw it earlier.
Could not be more there for it. And I would love to see him get to see that full target share, because really, this offense is designed to not have as many receiving weapons as we do have. The Ben Johnson offense is centered around a couple players, and Loveland should be one of them. He should be in that Sam Laporta role. I would love to see it. I'm hopeful, and I'm definitely a homer, so I don't want to make the call there. But how are we feeling about the Green Bay side? Anybody hitting that one? Because I'd lean Jaden Reed. Like, I honestly thought he looked the best of any of the receivers out there for them.
Yeah, Jaden Reed continues to get involved with an incredibly high target per route run, but he's going to continue to run less than 100% of the targets. Another player I find to be better in best ball, because it's really hard to figure out what weeks he's going to go off and what weeks he's not, right? This Packers receiving offense is always rotating. I mentioned my Waddle problem, and I was like looking at players like Romeo Doubs, and God, you just can't trust any of them on any given week. I mean, Dobbs had his 4 weeks early in the season, and then we saw Watson just had his big stretch, and Kraft was really getting it done during the middle third. Like, it's always been rotating with this team. My strategy going into this year was draft a bunch of Jordan Love, and that's how I mitigate this problem of who's the hot hand. But 50 plus 50 plus 50 plus 50 is adding up to 200, and that's just not getting it done from Jordan Love's side either. So it's hard for me to put my money on any of these players. It really feels like any of them could be a coin toss at any game. I'd rather play the Jaden Reed alt and hope that he goes off for 2 TDs or a long one for 80 yards than maybe play his receiving line straight up.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, because you're just hoping for the one big play. Like, Jordan Love does have a cannon, and he tends to find these guys on deep routes. So I'm entirely there with you. Like, if you're going to hit one, hit that alt line and get a bit more for your bang for your buck on that. Because if you're taking that Jaden Reed over 40 yards and just sitting there, like, that's pretty much the most stressful low upside bet you can take. And I love those bets, because I always try and take them and always just sit there stressing.
What about Golden? Golden came back last week. He didn't play a ton of snaps, but he had 4 targets, caught the ball 3 times for 55 yards. Are we finally seeing that post-bye, post-injury, post-getting benched rookie bump out of our boy Matthew Golden, failed first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers? I guess that answers that question.
I love that archetype of receiver. I was really bummed when he went in the first round to the Packers. 1, because he went to the Packers, and 2, because I did not think that the first round grade was really where he was stacking up at. He was fantastic in a limited role in that offense until he was thrust into a big time role, ended up playing some weaker defenses, and had a great end to his college career. And we haven't seen it translate to the big leagues. I don't like him in a rotational role. Like, I'm not going to pick a player that's a rookie that hasn't shown it yet. There are a lot of variables.
And you'd rather sweat that Jaden Reed 40 over under. I get it. But okay, in all of this, and here we are going through this, and I pulled up this game just to see if I could like anything, and then all of a sudden I found this Matthew Golden over 12.5 longest reception. I was like, well, that's a must. If he's going to catch the ball, it's going to be 12.5. So I think that's the way you play Golden. But
I love that bet, actually. You sold me.
I had to smack it right away. 12.5. I mean, that's one catch. Let's see. Oh, he didn't do it in that game. Oh, he didn't do it in that game. He's getting targeted downfield. Your Christian Watson is going to be banged up regardless. It's Chicago's pass D has been pretty mediocre. 12.5 yards. Root for one long catch. I don't know. Come on, rookie. Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, if you have start sits, let us know because we are going to draw about anything here and we are open to it. So let's move it on to the next one here. We got Los Angeles at Dallas, -2.5 to Dallas, surprisingly enough. 49 over under. Who are you liking in this one? I think this is the most fun game this week.
This is a rat line for sure. I've heard multiple people now be like, oh, why is Dallas favored? Which means I feel like a bunch of people are going to be running throw money on the Chargers, and this is going to be that game that the Chargers give up. We expected the Chargers to slide back here coming out of their bye with their injured offensive tackles. Justin Herbert banged up his hand. He's been getting the ball out in under 3 seconds, and they've kept going. They've kept getting those wins. They got the huge win last week against Kansas City to knock them out of the playoffs. This is a perfect fall apart spot for the Chargers. I see you have Ladd in here. I do think that he is good for a bounce back week this week. I definitely think that this could be an offensive showing. The Dallas games have averaged 59 points a game this year. So when we've been thinking about those 52.5, 54.5 point totals, I mean, Dallas is putting those up every game with their opponent. So definitely want some players in this game. We have seen Hampton get a majority of the carries, but he's not getting a majority of the snaps right now because his pass protection just isn't there. And they really trust Vidal, and especially without their tackles, they're putting as much protection in there with Herbert as they can. So still not expecting a full workload from Hampton, but in this matchup, you got to fire him up.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. And I think that this is one of those cases where you don't need to overcomplicate it because Dallas could win this game. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think the Chargers are an elite team in the NFL without their offensive tackles, but Dallas has one of the worst slot and run defenses in the NFL, like far none. They very well might have the worst, and Amarion Hampton's been able to get it done. Kamani Vidal has actually been a very competent backup running back. Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen should get a ton of run in this game. And Justin Herbert feels like a safe option in your fantasy playoffs. Like, it's scary because he hasn't done it recently. His hand's been banged up. But if you have Justin Herbert and you've been holding him this long, are you benching him for his one good matchup in your fantasy playoffs? I'm not.
No, this is why you drafted him, right? You're looking at those week 16, 17 matchups, and this is a great matchup. Fire him up, fire the team up. I think Quentin Johnston was practicing again this week. Unfortunately, Trey Harris got injured. I was kind of looking at that as an angle that we could take going into the weekend, but those cards have flipped in the wrong direction for some sort of pivot. I don't know. Is this the game that randomly goes under? Do the Chargers have to put up a bunch of points? Do the defenses finally win this game? I don't know. It doesn't mean very much either. This game doesn't mean very much, but the game after this that game means almost nothing. So I should have put a skip here, but I just couldn't help myself. How's Philly only a 7-point favorite against Washington?
Yeah. Although I entirely agree with you, and we are a DFS and gambling show, so we should cover this game because this is easily the best line of the entire week, in my opinion. Like, I saw this, and the only reason I didn't write skip was because I was like, Philadelphia is only favored by 7? What? Why? What has Marcus Mariota shown to give you any confidence in that team? Like, the fact that Bill was okay last week, like, their offense is gross. It's not fun. And Philadelphia is still good at football. Like, notably, they aren't the best team in the NFL right now, but they're still real good. I don't get this one at all. Like, how is this not a 10+ line?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts threw 3 touchdowns on 15 passes last week. The offense is starting to put it together a little bit. They still have the same defensive pieces that have got this team to the Super Bowl and winning it last year. This team's good. And the market's out, and the market took that win over Vegas in stride. And I mean, you can't be much more dominant than 31-0, where you bench your starting quarterback heading into the fourth, and then you get the drive with the backup quarterback, and you just run it down their throats like 12 plays in a row, just boom, boom, boom. I'm like, yeah, screw the fourth quarter of this game. This thing's over. Bounce back against another terrible team. Let's go, Philly.
And you know the funny thing? We saw J.J. McCarthy do the exact same thing to the Commanders a week ago. So
Yeah.
why are you not taking the line on this one? Philly line is our line of the week. If you're betting game totals, that is the game total to bet. I see here you have an A.J. Brown dud. I'm not sure that I agree with that here. I think you could go either way. I think Smitty could get one. The right answer is Saquon Barkley.
I don't want to hear that, but I think that is the right answer this week. Though I think Jalen Hurts can put up a good game. The reason I'm calling for an A.J. Brown dud is because, let's just face it, he's due, and I'm a big he's due kind of player. So at the end of the day, A.J. Brown never puts together streaks like he's been on these past 4 days. All the touchdowns have been falling in his direction. I thought last week was going to be the dud. He catches that last TD pass to get him there still. And I'm not saying he's not going to be involved in the offense, but eventually we know Devonta Smith is a great player. It was a Goddard week last week. It was an A.J. Brown the 2 weeks before that. It's about time for my boy Devonta Smith to step up in a big way here in the playoffs. So all I can do is cross my fingers on this one, but he was the player you needed last year, week 16 and 17. Why not step into those shoes again this year?
Hey, I'm with it. And again, we are answering start sit, so if you throw them in the chat, we're going to get to them. But let's move it on to our next one here. I threw this one on here. I'm surprised you didn't throw a skip on this one. Tampa Bay at Carolina. Carolina is +3, over under a 45.5. It is basically the game that decides that division. I know there's a good chance that like either of these teams could lose any given week, but I think it decides the division. JC Horn is still playing. He scares me for Mike Evans. I think Mbuka hits the comeback. I think this is the bounce back Emeka Mbuka week, and I'm willing to put money on it. That's the one that called out to me. I'm with you, though, that like Mike Evans should get yards still.
Yeah, I'm not super privy to the weather in this one yet. So in terms of our start sit question from earlier, definitely take the weather into consideration for Mike Evans. One thing after last week's game, I told my wife was we cannot play Mbuka next week. He split way too much work with McMillan. He definitely got all the work down the stretch in the second half, and it was good to see that out of Mbuka, but that's going to be a four-headed monster this week. I expect it to be. I like the Jalen McMillan lines again, most likely. I haven't taken a look at them, but they were way too light last week. Found myself a free couple unit win and then decided to, immediately turn around and give that right back. But thought I had broke the game. Unfortunately, the game broke me right back within a couple hours. But it sure was fun for about an hour and a half thinking that I had broken the receiver coming back game. So it's a little crowded there for me. I wouldn't put skip on this game because of how important it is. Carolina does take on Tampa Bay 2 weeks from now in Tampa as well. I really wish they had won this last game because then at that point they would have need one of these two and they would be done. It wouldn't even matter what happened here in the middle. One of them, I think Carolina has the Rams next week. So much bigger challenge than Tampa. I think they definitely need this one here at home. Are they actually dogs at home?
Yeah, they're actually dogs.
Oh,
I know.
Dogs at home. I'm sorry. You have to take Carolina on that.
See, that's the thing. I genuinely think Tampa has the game, which is the only reason I'm not taking that line. Because I agree. It basically should be a rule on our show sheet that when you are +3 at home, when you are a winning football team, which despite Carolina's best efforts, they are a winning football team. Like they should finish this year at or above 500. So I'm inclined to agree with you, but I also just Baker Mayfield's got that moxie. Like give it to him. I'm willing to believe.
Last week was terrible. I mean, I get it's a week-to-week game, and that's probably why you should be back on Tampa this week. But the number of penalties that Atlanta had, the number of turnovers, I mean, they didn't even want to win that game the way they played, and they still lost. I mean, they tried to give it away. The number of unsportsmanlikes, the personal fouls. There are two fourth down penalties that gave them first downs, at least two. I don't know how that happened, and now we have to go in on Tampa Bay. Ugh, I don't like it. If I can find a live line, if Tampa Bay scores first, smack Carolina's live line and enjoy that touchdown spread. I think this one ends up being close.
I think so too. Let's move it on to the next one here. One of the more consequential games of this week, Jacksonville at Denver. Denver -3, over under 47.5. In this game, honestly, I see a bounce back for the defenses. These are two running football teams. I think the unders for both teams are going to hit. Like, we just saw Travis Etienne have quite possibly the best fantasy day you can see from a running back. I think that's the second that you see something like that, especially when it's done in an unsustainable way. It was done through the check down game. Yeah, take those underlines. Like, Vegas is going to overreact, so you overreact in the other direction.
Yeah, this is a good call out by you. Vegas is overreacting to both games last week being very high scoring when the better units on both of these teams are probably their defenses. We've seen Jacksonville play awesome recently, and it's really hard to be benching Trevor Lawrence right now after the way he's played these past number of weeks in fantasy. And I can't say I'm advising that yet. Would definitely have to think more on it. But I feel like right after I started my Jaguars hate train, their schedule got a lot easier, and they put a few together. Now I'm like, wait, did I jump off the Trevor Lawrence train too early? So am I supposed to be sticking with this right now, or should we be looking at the number 7 QB on the year a little bit more highly as let's see. Yeah, he's been a 20-point scorer for the most part the past 4 weeks. But Arizona, Tennessee, Indy, Jets, Arizona, I think I said Arizona twice. They definitely didn't play them twice, but they're that bad. They needed to be said twice.
I'm with you there. I still don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a playoff caliber roster, but they'll probably make it. So, like, if you're in the NFC right now, you are struggling to get a playoff spot, and Jacksonville might walk in. The only other line on here that you threw there, I'm totally with, is BTJ, still in the mid-40s. I'd take that easy. I think we'll have a rule on here very soon for BTJ in the 40s. Take that over. Like, he's too explosive of a player to leave that line on there. But let's move into the next one here, because we do have some yapping we want to do at the end of this show. New England at Baltimore, -3 to Baltimore, over under of 48.5. I like the Lamar rushing lines in this one. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I was kind of surprised to see -3 for Baltimore. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah. I'm regretting still not taking the live Buffalo line at halftime because I wasn't quite paying attention. I was too busy sweating fantasy. But I remember when they got 21-0, I was like, Josh Allen's got this game. And of course, we saw the big slide from New England. A lot of what I've heard is Drake May is not getting it done late. And it's true. I mean, he looked so dominant in the first half, and he ended up with negative fantasy points in the second half this past week. But New England is a much better team. But Baltimore needs this one more. I don't know. They kind of equally need it at this point after that loss. Do like your Lamar rushing over call out. He is starting to get more design runs. He is seeming to get some of his speed back. He was out with an illness earlier this week. He still hasn't gotten a full week of practice in, but he's back practicing today. I like his rushing. New England's the better team. Plus the 3 points. I think you got to take New England +3.
I'm with you there. And I think Stephon Diggs is a great angle for that. If you see the Kashawn Booty line or the Demario Douglas line low, take one of those two. Like, it's a great player take to throw on a parlay, to be like, hey, I know Drake May is going to be playing in a competitive environment. They're going to pass the ball. Somebody's going to catch it. Hunter Henry, even. Like, I think there is some betting lines there, but let's move it into the next one here, because we're here to talk fantasy football. We are in the semifinals. I want to kind of yap and hear about some of your hardest sit decisions here. Like, I have a couple semifinal matchups myself. I know you are in our Dynasty semifinal matchups where I'm completing my team's rebuild, so I'm watching your team from below. How are you feeling this week, Scott?
Oh my gosh, my team is falling apart. I'm 12-2, and somehow I'm not even favored here. I lost Mahomes for the season, though I get to plug in CJ Stroud. I mean, he's been playing some really good football. They're at home. They are on a roll, and I haven't seen them afraid to continue to put up points. I've seen them in a couple blowouts these last 45 days, and they haven't been scared to keep putting it on. So my first choice, I find this to be somewhat of an easy choice, CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Bryce Young taking on a little bit better matchup in Tampa Bay, but too inconsistent, I think. Don't get too cute. That's what they're saying here around the playoff time. So, and then Gardner Minshew, another interesting take. We talked about the pass funnel earlier from Tennessee. I picked that up more as a block. I actually do plan on dropping him again Saturday morning, but I didn't want my opponent to get any ideas. And I mean, they've been scraping it together, my opponent, starting Michael Carter this week, Addi Mitchell. They picked up Parkinson. They got Jerry Rice himself, Michael Wilson. But I wish you Rice.
Stop calling Michael Wilson Jerry Rice.
That's what they've been saying, man. I can just read what I'm seeing online. So I don't know. I got Breece Hall in here. I think we talked about him a little bit, but I don't know. You're filling in names. But in a semifinal matchup at home, I got Waddle, and I got nothing on my bench. And there really aren't that many players on the wire. Like, what should I be doing?
I'll be honest. I'm sticking with Waddle. I talked to a lot of the Devi folks. Check out Ben McCown and Chris the Cardman, Devi Shifu, and Devi Dojo. Obviously, they're fantastic. Great content there. And despite my disdain for Quinn Ewers, because I genuinely don't think he's a very good quarterback. I saw enough at Texas. I'm just not impressed by what I've seen from him as a whole. But he does have an arm. He has always had an arm. He was a highly recruited high school athlete as well. He has the ability to throw a deep ball a lot better than Tua, probably.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of good options on the waivers when the top guys on the waivers are Hollywood Brown. We discussed him a little bit earlier. Trey Tucker against Houston. Absolutely not. Mac Hollins, Slayton in a tough matchup. You could go Zacchaeus maybe with the two Bears guys out. I mean, these are all disgusting names. Alec Pierce is an option, but he's not an option. I mean, we saw that Phillip Rivers has no downfield ability right now. I mean, I see Mac Hollins on the top of this list. This is just gross. I think you just got to stick with Waddle.
Yeah, you got to stick with Waddle. That's what I'm saying. I think it's the right call. And I say that knowing that, like, Waddle comps to me really similarly to a guy like Chris Olave, where he is able to get separation, but he's bigger than you think. And he's able to play as a wide receiver one because of that context. And, when we saw Tyler Shuck get in there and in some aspects, John Hayner and Spencer Rattler as well, a lot of the times the worry was, Olave won't be able to make it happen. And in all those games, he's been able to be a consistent fantasy asset for large part of this season. I think that Waddle's a really similar player where it's like, I think Tua's broken. Like, I don't think there's much hope for him. I honestly would comp his career arc really similar to Mitch Trubisky, where we're seeing a guy in a system absolutely lose the entire ability to play that system. We're seeing the system get broken down into like a much worse one to try to accommodate that guy's skill set, because Mike McDaniels is simplifying the playbook. He's trying to make it Tua friendly, but to be honest, his playbook doesn't look great when it's all simplified either. Like, it starts looking a little bit less exciting, and we've seen Tua entirely lose the thread. So at that point, I'm kind of inclined to think that, like, hey, maybe Ewers will be able to pick it up. I'm not impressed. The thing that bumps me out is that I kind of feel like Zach Wilson would kill it in this system.
I'm done with Zach Wilson. I can't. I can't. I think I would almost feel worse. I prefer a guy I barely even know versus Zach Wilson. So, all right, can we talk tight ends? I think there's a lot of tight end decisions to be made this week. There's a lot of decent options. We talked a little bit about Parkinson tonight. But in Dynasty, I got a toss-up, I'd say, between Jake Ferguson and Brenton Strange. Ferguson started off the year really hot, but he really hasn't done much since. He's averaging somewhere between 5 and 7 targets a game, with last week being his low at 4. But he's barely put up more than 10 fantasy points since week 7. So should I roll over to Strange? I mean, he's been pretty involved with the 20% target share. They didn't need him last week, and he barely got used, but he's running 80%. He's on the field for over 80% of the time. And Denver's been pretty mediocre against tight end.
Yeah. The one thing I'd say about that is the Chargers are also pretty mediocre against the tight end. Like we saw Brock Bowers tear him up for a couple touchdowns. We saw Goddard get 80 yards against them. Like the Chargers aren't a hard matchup for the tight end position, and this game could turn into a bit of a shootout. CeeDee Lamb's been missing practice with an illness. Like I almost would lean Ferguson, but like it's a weird one because I kind of feel like Strange is a better player in a vacuum almost. Like I think he has more athletic traits. I think he could fit into an offense better. And I also am more terrified about the target competition for Strange than I am about Ferguson. Like I know George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are incredible. They certainly are, but like there's a lot of pie to be had in Dallas. There isn't as much pie to be had in Jacksonville. If their game turns into a slog, like you think that BTJ, Jacoby Myers, and Parker Washington aren't getting anything? I personally don't. I think they're all going to get that 25% of their target share.
Yeah, Strange's receiving yards are around 39.5. It doesn't look like Ferguson's are out yet. My opponent is starting Dak. Sometimes you feel like you're playing a little bit of defense by playing some offense there, or at least you have something to root for while you're miserably playing defense. I mean, that was terrible. Home league last week, I'm watching the Sunday night game playing defense all night long. Just like, don't catch your Pickens.
Question, though. Does that matter? Is a question I have for you, because I'm sure there's some math to it where like it does make a difference if you have the receiver and your opponent has the quarterback or vice versa. Like when does that actually start factoring in for you? Like how do you factor in those starts decisions where you have a player and it's kind of a toss up for you and you're trying to essentially get a piece of if your opponent's doing well?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's a wide receiver 1, of course, you're playing them anyway. And if it's a wide receiver 2, I'm definitely leaning towards playing them. Like, I'll take that toss-up. But when you get all the way down to the tight end level, what matters is who's going to put up more points at the end of the game. Then again, I feel that some of the times fantasy football is all about emotionally hedging. Once my opponent last week picked up Isaiah Likely, I was like, I need to go bet all of this man's alts. So if he does something stupid to me on Sunday, I at least will be profiting off of the stupidity. So, yeah, I don't know. Jake Ferguson plus 180 for a TD. Like, I think that's kind of the tiebreaker I've been looking at on these close calls down the stretch, is looking at these players' TD props and trying to see, like last week, Breece Hall was plus 165, and then all of a sudden, at game time, he was like plus 235. I mean, that's just not a good play. But if Breece Hall is going to play a game and he's plus 150 to score a touchdown or less, he's a must play, especially in your leagues where like we have 8 points per rushing touchdown. I mean, you got to be playing that extra running back if they are truly that favored for a TD.
Yeah, I'm pretty with you there. I mean, we are basically at the end of the show. We're at 59 minutes here. What do you want to talk about before we wrap up, Scott? I'll toss the ball to you. What tickles your brain? What gets those little whiskers that are slightly graying on your beard perked up?
Just enjoy your sweats this week. Like, you work so hard to get to this point. You don't know if you're going to get a shot next week. I was sweating some quarterfinals out last week. Don't overdo it on the bets. You already have a bunch of bets in play. You already have these teams that you've advanced and have been rooting for. So just enjoy the weekend rooting for those. Find a couple of your favorite matchups and make those the ones. I mean, I have a 1v1 flocking matchup on Underdog that I'm very interested in. I think it's always fun to be in a 1v1 matchup, very focused on that. And then I actually had 2 teams slip through in, I think it was like 6-entry max Bulldog. Maybe it was 10-entry max, but I got 2 all the way through to the semis. And it's a division of 6. And you got to be the top of that division of 6. So watching a couple of fun teams there. I guess I had one team pulled up that was going to be my favorite that I was going to run you through and see if you liked it as well.
Hit it.
So thank God we got Geno Smith back. That's everything this team really needed. But if he doesn't truly go off this week, we have Jordan Love. But what I really like about this team is my RBs are Bijan, James Cook, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, and Rico Dowdle. It's good to see Marvin Harrison playing this week. We needed that. T. Higgins, unfortunately, banged up. J-Mo, who's been going ham. Matthew Golden, Jacoby Myers, my boy Jack Besh, and maybe Savion Williams will come back to play this week with Colston Loveland and Theo Johnson. So teams that point of balance needs to get done in the RBs. It's always hard when you're relying on one quarterback. I mean, 1.5 in this case, but need a good game from Love.
Yeah, that's a roster and a half. That's a real fun one. I absolutely love that. I like your odds, and that is 1.5 QBs to rely on, but screw it. Like, I'm gonna lean into that same take you said there, but take it a different direction, because I'm with you. I think the sweats are the entire reason you play this game, because it does bring a sense of community. It keeps you in it. It gives you a thing to root for, even if your team's out, even if you're a Raiders fan, there's still something to watch. But the thing that I want to suggest is that when you're watching the games, if you notice that when you get up to grab a beer, when you go to the bathroom, that your team scores right away, you stay in the bathroom. You believe in that superstition. If you're playing with your yo-yo, if you also are a child with toys like me, like, you better be playing with it that whole game. I don't care if that wrist gets sore, you keep swinging it down.
Whoa, why is your wrist getting sore from playing with this yo-yo?
I mean, it's heavy. It's a trick yo-yo.
Oh, that's the yo-yo.
I take yo-yoing very seriously, Scott. Come on.
Oh, man. Heck yeah. It's so fun. You work so hard to get to this point, and it's so hard to win. We play this game where there's literally one champion and everybody else is a loser. You get in these best ball tournaments, you're advancing 2 of 12, 1 of 12, 1 of 16. Just enjoy what you got. And if you have one $3 team that makes it and you got a shot at $10,000, then brag to your friends the entire week that you have a shot at $10,000, even if you're going to get last place.
Right. Damn right. I mean, that was us last week with our Great Dane. Like, we had a hedging chance if Devon Achane put up 30 points, and the entire time during that game, I was like, why are they not just passing to the screen game this whole time? Come on. Achane is ready. Feed the man. But we'll end it off there. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We will be with you all off season. Expect a lot of best ball presentation. We're playing a draft a week here. Like, you're going to see a lot of Scott's face, and come on. Why would you not want to see that? So thank you for sticking with us. I am Addi, the Duck League champ. You can find me on the Twitter, the Instas, at the place I said previously, at Duck League champ. You can find my work on the app and Google Play Store. League Champ is running contests all through the NFL season, and we're going to have an NFL draft rankings contest as well. So there's going to stick with us all the way through the offseason. Scott, tell them where they can find you, because they can find you at Chonks in the Best Ball Streets.
That's right. You find me at Chonks in the Best Ball Streets, as Maltese on X, a picture of my grumpy cat who joined the show today as our true professional intern she is. And looking forward to seeing the sweats out there. And I saw a lot of sadness last week. People, like good good guy out there, Jewish McCaffrey, had 50 BBM teams. None of them made the semifinals. I mean, you can have the best advance rate, and this game can beat you down the next week. So enjoy the wins.
He's got a crazy marathon team, though.
Yeah.
Like, his marathon team is like third or fourth. Like, I was looking at mine. I'm in like the mid 2000s, and I feel great about it. Like, it's a solid roster. I'm at 1800. It feels good, but he is at like 2200.
He deserves it. He's a stud, and it's fun to follow him, fun to get advice from him, and wishing him the best. And all of you the best.
Yeah. Same here. Hey, well, we will catch you next week. And as my co-host always says, George Pickens is headgear forever. Michael Wilson when Marvin Harrison plays never.
Peace.